Hey guys, it's Tuesday, January 10th, 2012. I'm Jab, and this is a video game video. I want to post a couple videos, at least one game video related. I'm not going to go on the hardware, and I got the web video up. So you guys, if you have different interest in watching my channel, at least you have something to gnaw on for a little bit. So I'm going to talk about American McGee's Alice 2, Diablo 3, Duke Nukem Forever, Heroes of Might and Magic 6, and Skyrim. I get Heroes of Might and Magic 6 out of the way. I have not had a chance to play it. Ubisoft is one of those companies where it's like, the DRM that they use and their approach is very undesirable. If I spend money, I shouldn't have to suffer because of pirates. And they make good games. You know, I've got Beyond Good and Evil, never quite finished that one, and, you know, so it's one of those game companies that I'm like, Activision is the one and only game company I can think of that I absolutely don't like, and I will never buy their games, mainly because they're a publisher. If they I'm not sure if there's an actual Activision core team of actual developers, but basically they screwed over the guys who made the Call of Duty series, and a lot of them ended up leaving that developer company that was making the series for Activision. Now, because I'm a web developer, I know what it's like to work on code, and I know I've had my fair share of clients who don't want to pay me for my work. Okay, well then you didn't pay for it. It's not your work. It's mine. I'm keeping it. It's kind of like if you walk into a store and you say, "I'm going to give you a penny for this dollar gum." It's like, sure, you gave me some money, but that's not the amount of money that it cost, and therefore you cannot walk away with that merchandise because you didn't fully pay for it, which ended up being technically stealing still. So, Activision is evil, which kind of breaks my heart a little bit because Blizzard Entertainment merged with Activision, which is absolutely horrible because Blizzard is awesome. Now, I'm not going to say that they're absolutely perfect, and I'm not going to get into all that because I'm sure that we could have like a series of videos about the whole topic, but I love Blizzard games. I haven't played every single one of them. The absolute latest one I can think of that I haven't played is the Warcraft 3 expansion. But I played Warcraft 1, Warcraft 2, Warcraft 2 expansion, Warcraft 3, but not the expansion, Diablo 1, the Hellfire expansion, but that was made by Sierra, Diablo 2, and I will go into Diablo 3 in a little bit. So I'm a bit, and World of Warcraft, of course. And I've played all the way up through Cataclysm. Very on-off, though. It's a massive single-player game to me. So, okay. American McGee's Alice 2. Initially started off as a really awesome game. I was really psyched about it. And then my FPS went to single digits. A 5770 is not the most powerful video card you can get out there, but it is not a weak video card. And it is actually modestly more powerful than an 8800 GT. I got that because that's what I could get last year, and I really wanted to cool down my RAM. It really did help cool down my RAM because my 800 GT would literally get to 220 degrees Fahrenheit under full load with a 80% fan speed, which is noticeable enough. I think that's like 160 degrees Celsius. I'm not sure. Go to a C to F converter online and type in 220 degrees Fahrenheit if you're not in the United States. So I'm sorry, I just don't know Celsius, but it was hot. It would really heat up the room. So anyway, Alice 2 is completely unplayable. And if a computer can't play it, forget a console. So think about it. The Elder Scrolls series, 3, 4, and 5, you know, Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim, the physics work fine. You know, well, were there physics in Morrowind? I can't remember offhand. I think there were. Yeah, you remember the mage that would fall at, you know, just outside the first town? So I think there were some physics. It's been a long time. So completely unplayable. There comes a point where you're playing against so many monsters in a level, and you just cannot defeat them because the physics are just. You can't play it. So, unfortunately, that was a fail, even though the game looked really awesome and entertaining. Duke Nukem Forever. Really high expectations. I think the press were on drugs. We all know that the press is completely controlled. There's no question about that. I think that the game was not as awesome as a lot of people think it was going to be. It was not as bad. It was nowhere near as bad as the press were suggesting it was. I never listen to the press. If the press say one thing, I generally presume either the opposite or somewhere a lot further from what they're saying. So that's why I do independent research when I want to figure out what's really going on in the world. But we're not going into politics. So, Duke Nukem Forever. It was a fun game. It was rampantly offensive. I would definitely not want a child or a young teenager to play the game. But as an adult, yeah, it was fun. My main criticism, which was brought up by the Series CM series, which I've never actually played, something I would like to play at some point, is there was a lot of duck and cover. And you would lose ego, and your ego would slowly recharge. I mean, there was a lot of interactivity with the world, which was really cool. I just don't see... I think you need a little bit more ego to match Duke's ego in-game. So, but still really good game. I think it was a fair game. I would, if I had to give it, out of 10 stars, I would give it 7 or 8. Some people might give it a 10, some people might give it a 3. So, I don't know. But I think it was a fun game. It was one of the few games that I thought was really worth finishing, and I was able to finish. And it was actually only one part of the game where I actually ended up having to say, I have no clue what I'm doing, and I had to go online and figure out what I was missing. So, the game was actually good. You can understand what you're doing, except for that one instance for me, at least. So, that was good. I actually saw a video about how the Mega Man series, a friend of mine sent me this, would always hint how to do something so that you would know ahead of time. And I don't like it when you play a game and it's like, hey, you just figured out how to do something, but now you've missed all these goodies in the past 5 levels, and you've played those 5 levels for 2 or 3 hours. Well, now you've just wasted all that time because now you're like, oh, I gotta go back. So it's important that's an important design aspect. Design is not simply about aesthetics, it's about how something is structured too. So, Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Awesome game, but not perfect. My first qualm is that essentially you can't finish the main quest line. I mean, think about it. Everyone knows this is going to be a huge release. They ended up making selling 6 million copies in the first. I don't know, but it was a lot, and everyone knew it was going to sell like hotcakes. And the main quest line was broken, so no one in the entire company or any of their family or friends who were testing it played the main quest line and said, "Hey, I can't finish the main quest line." No one at all over the course of how many years of development? Okay. So that was pretty bad, and 2 patches came out and you still cannot finish the main quest line. Okay, well, there's actually plenty of other content that you can do. The game is really awesome. One noted criticism I've seen from other people is that the guild quest lines are a little bit tenuous. You don't really feel like you've done enough or have interacted enough to really be accepted and say, hey, you're now the lead person of the Thieves Guild or the Mage Guild, which are the 2 guilds quest lines I've finished. I'm working on the Bards now or something. I can't remember what it is. It's been a few days since I've actually played the game. So, yes. But the game is still awesome. So you battle dragons and you pick butterflies. And yes, there was a noted interest thing there, but there are I think some people might not like the streamline of how the skills are set up. Some people will. And I suppose I should at some point maybe shoot a video or 2 of Skyrim keep in mind that I'm on some very big time sensitive work right now. So, you know, getting your own business up and running, when you're the only person working on it, video games tend to take a back seat. So, but hey, I will get to it when I can get to it. It's not like I stopped loving video games. So, just keep that in mind. Maybe if you guys want to see something specific, I'll try to shoot a specific video. More like, you know, I don't understand lockpicking, or I don't understand how, you know, this or that works. So I'll try to, you know, that would be easier for me to do instead of just randomly just like shooting a video and saying, hey, here's my hardware and here's the settings and whatnot. But I can tell you with the 5770 and a AM3 CPU that I bought the very first day that it came out on Newegg, as in the very first batch, that does not overclock beyond 3.1 gigahertz from a 2.8 base when it's a black edition. Yeah. I'm playing at the lowest 16:10 aspect ratio. So, yeah. Now it's a DirectX 9 game as far as I can tell. So it's still an awesome game, don't get me wrong. It's very interactive. The graphics are absolutely gorgeous. And it's a great game. I highly recommend it. Diablo 3. Now, I might, before I say anything about Diablo 3, I'm not fulfilling any request unless you want to see maybe a video. And keep in mind that the content of the beta is limited, because guess what? I got a beta invite. Finally, because, you know, I only own like almost every single Blizzard game. I think maybe I'd get a beta invite. Got a beta invite. And so I got the game running, and nothing. I couldn't play. Second day, nothing. I couldn't play. Actually, I think the first night I was able to play for a while, and then like a week, I couldn't play. And I got to the point where I got to the last level. I was just dead tired, so I was like, okay, I'll beat the Skeleton King the next day, and I wake up, and all the characters are deleted because they've decided that how they were storing characters in the database was not good. It was so bad that they had to scrap the entire table of the database, apparently, or something like that. Have you ever seen a Blizzard database? Wow. Yes. So anyway, so it is an awesome game. It is a lot more. You don't see the seams that you would see in Diablo 2. I think Tristram looked a lot better in Diablo 1 than it did Diablo 2. Keep in mind that all three games, Diablo 1, 2, and 3, a lot of the levels, some of the levels are static, but a lot of levels are randomized to keep the gameplay fresh. Excuse me. And so, some of the things, one of the thing I didn't like the most, which was made up for, so it's not like it doesn't kill the game. You can still enjoy the game, and it fixes itself. Actually, is that you can only use 2 skills up to a certain level, and then what ends up happening is, as you gain certain level to certain levels, you know, like 6 or 9 or whatever, and don't quote me on that. I'm just saying off the top of my head. You get to add more skills that you can assign to hotkeys. Now, so that kind of fixes that, and it kind of gets you comfortable using 2 spells. And unlike Diablo 2, where you set a function key at the top of the keyboard, in Diablo 3 you can associate to a numeric key just below the function keys. And what I like how they approach this is instead of pressing a function key and right-clicking, you just push the number key and it casts a spell. So it takes a click or a key press out of that. So if you're constantly pressing F2, 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 right-click, 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 F3, right-click, right-click, F2, right-click, 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 you essentially just press 1, 1, 3, 1, 3, 2, 1. You're doing that, and you're always casting something when you press those. So it takes a little monotony out of that. There's a lot more unique feeling to the game. I wish that they kept the in-game character interaction kind of well, they're not really cinematics, but where they pause the rest of the world and Cain and the Barbarian would talk in one of the video previews that we saw like years ago. Yes, the game is taking forever, but I think that when you venture out into the game, at least from what I've seen so far, it's not where you're just killing monsters, because that gets monotonous. When you add other things in there, like other characters that you come across, or unique monsters, like the treasure one that's in the beta, which I won't go into, but basically, and you see something that's unique, try not to give this away. Pay attention and keep your eyes sharp, because if something seems out of place, generally you're going to want to pay attention to that, even if you're completely surrounded by monsters. So hopefully I didn't give anything too away. So, but the beta is interesting. Play the wizard, obviously. It feels kind of tenuous, the number of spells. I'm hoping that it doesn't feel limited like Diablo 2, where you don't end up using certain spells at a time. So hopefully that the first spells that you get will be useful later on. So I think that it's so far being executed. There were some initial cringes, but the way the game was set up, it fixed itself, and you're like, oh, okay, that's not bad. In fact, it's even better. So I definitely think it's going to be an awesome game when it comes out. And even got my girlfriend hooked on it, which, I mean, that's good. So, anyway, I can't think of anything else to cover in the video game video. Hopefully you guys found this worth watching. I hope so. So, let me know what you guys are looking forward to. Personally, I can't wait for Diablo 3, and I think, eventually I might like to try the Serious Sam games, because it looks just, not ducking behind stuff for cover all the time. And, I love Unreal Tournament. We got big into Unreal Tournament 2004, so still play that on rare occasion. And you could, believe it or not, actually play the original Unreal 99 on an Atom netbook, which I have one. So, from like 2 years ago, before the AMD Fusion came out. So I was like, but I needed a netbook at that point. So, but you can actually play Unreal on a netbook, amazingly enough, the 99 one first. So anyway, let me know what you guys are looking forward to. If you guys want me to shoot some video of Diablo 3 or Skyrim, please have a specific request, like, hey, I have no clue how this lock picking works, and you need a hint. Don't feel bad to ask about that, because sometimes I have to go online. I'm like, I have no clue how this works, and then you just get enough of a hint. You're like, oh, okay. Like some of the puzzles in the game, you'd have to figure out. Like I didn't know you had to look up the actual claw. And then I watched the video. I'm like, oh, okay. So now I know where to look. Sometimes the games don't give you enough of a hint. So if you guys want to see some of that. I'm sporting a 5770 and for a while, and I will not be replacing that. I will be replacing my CPU and motherboard eventually when I have actual money. So, well, more money than necessary to take out my girlfriend. So, that will be Bulldozer eventually. So we'll see about that, and I'll keep you guys in the know. The only change I've had for hardware over the past year or so is I just got up to 8 gigs. I have two sticks of 4 gig, 2133 megahertz. It was $45. Newegg shell shocker. They finally had a good shell shocker. I wanted 8 gigs of at least 1600 megahertz, and I was looking at a $42 one, and I saw this one. I was like, $45. I'm like, okay, that's hey, that's good. So, and I don't have the apparent 8 gig bug that some people were reporting with Skyrim. So there we go. So nothing super exciting with me for hardware, and I will be trying to get more videos out. I haven't forgotten you guys, and I have some rough ideas of some videos for more web development stuff to come. So just keep in mind that I have some very time sensitive things I have to work on, and as I get those things passed and finished, I haven't forgotten you guys. just keep in mind that when you're building everything from scratch entirely on your own, it's very involving. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys soon. Thanks for watching.